Hey nerds, welcome to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. Had a little technical trouble last week. There was a power outage and I wasn't able to film, but this week we're getting back into it. There wasn't too much as far as the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe or expanding on what's happening with the Darkhold and things like that, but there is some stuff we need to talk about. And there was some. The show started off with that flashback with, I gotta say, some of the coolest shout outs and Easter eggs that, in my opinion, the show has put on there. And so when we see our scientists searching for the Darkhold, they're in a garage, and in this garage there's stuff littered all over. And if you're familiar with Ghost Rider at all, immediately this stuff is screaming Johnny Blaze. And we see a poster for a circus, and this is the circus that Johnny Blaze worked in as a stunt driver with his motorcycle before he got his powers and when he made his deal to get the Ghost Rider abilities. Very cool. This indicates to me that Johnny Blaze does exist in this universe. Whether we're going to see him or not is something that is still yet to be seen. But it's possible Johnny Blaze could come in and interact with the team at some point, especially if you consider how Robbie Reyes, in order to kind of overcome the evil possession of his uncle, he needed Johnny Blaze's help. So as an official Ghost Rider, because in the comics, Robbie Reyes really isn't a traditional Ghost Rider, but with the help of Johnny Blaze, he is able to subdue the driving influence of his uncle. Now, we did get to see the actual Darkhold this week, and it looks cheesy, and to be perfectly honest, if you look at a screenshot, it looks like that, I don't know, demonic language or whatever it is supposed to be is just Darkhold written in a funny font turned sideways. But still, it's cool. We finally get the book. It's crazy, no idea what's going on, but I'm definitely interested to see more about that. Especially, what do we think? Laura, I think, is the name of the scientist. What does she want Eli to build for her? The easy speculation would be that she wants him to rebuild the device that put them in that state to begin, in that ghost-like state to begin with. But there's no way of knowing exactly what she wants. But she definitely needed him to read the book. The book isn't recognizing her as a living soul, and that's probably why she can't read it. Now, the other question related to Robbie and Eli is, who put the hit out on the brothers and why? Now, just based off of the comics, I'm not entirely sure how his brother did get put in the wheelchair, but my speculation would be that it was his uncle was essentially sacrificing them, and this was one of the criteria of the book. In order to gain power, he had to sacrifice innocents that were close to him, and his nephews fit that bill. So that's my speculation on what the deal was there. Next, the gear this week. There are three things. I just love the tech. I love the gear. Seeing the Quinjet dock, all that stuff is totally cool. But the three things that I loved: Ghost Rider again using the chain, Mac with the shotgun axe, and then Coulson using that energy shield. I still would love to see Coulson suited up at some point as U.S. agent. He's so perfect for that role. It would fit. He is as much that superhero character as anyone else in the MCU. Plus, he's got that shield already. So the gear is just outstanding. Love it. Third thing we got to talk about: Jeffrey Mace. Now, we already talked about who his character is based off of the comic, and they've taken some deviations from that. But the big mystery here is, what is he actually hiding? He's been called out on that picture, that incident at the explosion, the bombing in Vienna, which, if you didn't catch, that's a reference to Civil War when T'Challa's father was killed. And apparently he was there, but apparently the situation that everyone knows with him saving someone isn't real. So we don't know what's going on there. And like a lot of people have said online in different reviews, those pictures looked very photoshopped. But who is he? Is he really an Inhuman? Is he something different? Is he maybe a cyborg? Is he a robot? Or are they actually taking him to a more traditional thing with the character from the comics, and maybe he's got a serum in him, maybe something like the Infinity Serum or something related to the Super Soldier Serum? Hard to say, especially since he did come out and say he is an Inhuman. It's most likely that he is inhuman, but the question is, what is he hiding? What is the truth there? So I'm curious what people think on that. And then the last thing from this episode, the final moments, he's confronted by Senator Nadeer, and she's blackmailing him. She's blackmailing Shield because of what's going on with Coulson and Ghost Rider and that jail. Now the question is, what does she want? And there's a few things that come to mind when I'm just speculating about what she could want. The first is she wants access to the Inhumans list. Now, obviously, he's not going to trust her with that, but she must have a very good reason that she thinks will satisfy him in order to get that. The second thing she could possibly want is civilian oversight. This is something that comes up a lot in different shows. Stargate used this kind of idea when they wanted civilian oversight of the organization to make sure that it's on the up and up and that they have to answer to somebody. And the third is similar to that, but it's that she would want her own personal informant or advisor essentially working with Mace, and that would report directly to her. So she had basically an official mole to be in the organization. Now, it's hard to say. Those are kind of the three most obvious. The fourth one, though, this is just kind of, I don't think Mace could give this to her, but she might want the location or information on Nick Fury, to be able to bring him forth publicly, because he's in hiding at this point, as far as we know. In hiding with a helicarrier, mind you, but we don't know where he is. So that's another possible thing, but hard to see that being played out in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not sure. Those are the three things that came to my mind just as I was watching this, but what do you guys think? What do you think she really wants from S.H.I.E.L.D., and what do you think, or who do you think is the one that put the hit out on the boys? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other videos for Flash and Supergirl, and I've got a weekly podcast over at goodnerdbadnerd.com, or you can just find it on iTunes. So until next week, guys, this has been Brian, and this has been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies.